Good morning, everyone. Myself, Dr. R. Nidhya, working as professor in Computer Science and Engineering Department of Madanapalle Institute of Technology and Science. I welcome you all for the course on Introduction to Julia Programming. This is a course where we are going to learn about the basics of Julia programming, which starts with the installation, basic operators, the decision-making statements, and it will be ended with the for loop and data visualization part. So in this class, we are going to discuss about the introduction to Julia programming. Once again, welcome you all to the course. This is the flow of presentation of the today's session. We will start discussing with the introduction, history, advantages of Julia programming, disadvantages, Julia, speed of Julia programming, applications of Julia, installation, and connect Julia with the Jupyter. So this is the content we are going to discuss in our today's class. So first we will start with what is Julia programming, why it has been started. So we know n number of programming languages are available in current trend. So when this Julia started, what is the need of the thing? So as a computer science and engineering professionals, we know there is a reason behind each and every development of the language. If you take a Python language, when the people are feeling difficulty in the syntaxes and the lack of packages, so the people started thinking of designing a new language which is rich in a library. So that is the way the Python has been developed. You know, the Python has been developed in the age of at the end of 1990s, but still that came into the market in the peak in the late of 2005 series, right? So similarly, this is also a programming language. Now it's becoming a trending language in pharma, medical, and space related things. And it is the most important thing is visualization part that we will see at the end of this course. So first we will start what is the Julia programming is all about. Julia is a high level and high performance dynamic programming language. So similarly, we have n number of programming languages like high level, high performance, dynamic programming. But still, why we are having another one language like this now? The most important thing why we have Julia is the speed. We will see how the speed is very important in this particular language in later on slide. And this particular language is especially designed for a scientific computing and technical computing part. And this is a kind of language, imperative language, so that it is following the interpreter. Even you can use that compiler based implementation also for this particular language. The first important thing is the extension of this programming language is .jl. Like we are having C is the .c, C++ is the .cpp, like that Julia programming extension is .jl program. Suppose you want to execute any C-based compiler on another compiler in your Julia programming, just you have to call that particular package with the extension of jar.jl. So you can convert your programming languages into statically compiler program as well. And it is a completely open source. Even though it is a open source, that open source license is holded by MIT US. I will tell you the reason later on why it is holded by the MIT. And it is a kind of special language. It can import the method which has been designed in other programming languages like C, Python, Perl, those things also. What are the important packages are available in that particular place that you can copied or called from that Julia programming itself. So this is another one important feature of Julia programming. So here we go with the history of Julia programming. Those four are the developers of Julia programming, like Stephen Karpinski, Jeff Bezanson, Alan Edelman, Viral Shah. So these four people are the reason behind the are developers of the Julia programming. So this program of this is the thought of developing this particular programming language conceived by Stephen Karpinski. Stephen Karpinski is that US-based computer scientist. He is working on that network simulation-based tool. When he is working on that particular simulation tool, it is taking too much time that syntaxes are not dynamic. Suppose he is going for the MATLAB, he is missing many features that is available in Python. When he is going for the Python, he is missing many features that is available on MATLAB. He got frustrated, so he thought to develop one language which can incorporate all those things in a better way. At the same time, when you think just whenever you are going with the network simulation tool, it takes too much of time. So he wants to keep constraint on that particular thing. He wants to remove that obstacle of time constraint in the simulation model. So that is the part where he has decided to develop this particular language. Then he discussed with Viral Shah about that how I can go with that thing, how we can start this process, all those things he discussed with that. Then Jeff Bansman also, he is also a computer scientist, American-based computer scientist. And Alan Edelman, he is the mathematics and computer professor in MIT, US. So that is the reason that open source license is with the MIT people. Even though it is open source, you can do all the optimization, all the extension of that thing you can do, but the still license is holding by MIT. Then Edelman is a very famous, I think he is that alumni of Edward University. Then he knows better things in the mathematical related things. So that's why he is also a part of this thing. That language came in a better way because of this professor as well. Then finally, Viral Shah. He is the Indian-based scientist. He studied completely in Mumbai. He is the another one important thing about Viral Shah is he is that one important person behind our Vadar development project. At the initial stage, he is the reason behind our other development project at the recent days. And all these four people together developed that particular language, Julia. And this is the history behind the language. And this is the story as we discussed already. 2009, Stephen Karpinski is frustrated while developing a network simulation tool. And Karpinski speak to Viral Shah. They developed their own team and they discussed with the MIT professor. And finally, they developed that Julia programming. And the license is holded by MIT. All these things started beginning at the 2009. In 2012, the first public version of Julia has been released. That is 0.2.4, which is not maintained now. That is the initial version. Before that, 0.1.0 is also released. That is for the internal MIT people. And 2014, the second version is released. You see the difference between 2012 and 2014. There is 2 years difference. And because it started slowly coming into the market. And second release 0.3.0 and 2015, third release 0.4.1. But those earlier versions and all not maintained by them now, because we know if 10th version comes now up to 8 or 7 only they will maintain. The remaining things it will not support the advanced syntaxes. That's the problem. And 2023 Julia 1.10.0 was released in December 25th 2023. And 24 they have released 2 versions came in 24. One came in February 14th 2024, that is Julia 1.10.1 version. And in recent March 1st 1.10.2 version is released. Can you see the difference here? The first version and the second version almost 2 years gap. Nowadays the language is having upcoming things within a 1 month, not even 1 month, February 14th, March 1st. Within 15 days of time, they are going for the next version of the release. So this is the importance of the growing of the language. So here we can understand, I think. And one more thing about the naming reason behind the Julia. You know, as a computer science and engineering professional, we have seen many histories previously. If you see why they have named the language called Python, because the author is fond of certain thing, so he named his language as per his own view. And similarly, via Hadoop, like that, each and every language have their own history of naming that particular language, because it is developed by them. It's purely their own wish to name the language. In 2012 February, the author has named that language as the Julia in one conference. Why? What is the reason behind the naming that particular language? There is no much reason, logic behind this. The author likes the name Julia. That's why he named the programming language as a Julia. So this is the naming reason behind the programming language. Let us come to the advantages of Julia programming. I told one thing at the beginning, that most important thing is speed. You know, Karpinski is feeling the difficulty in speed, so that's why he thought of developing another one. Okay, how you can tell Julia programming is working better than the previous existing language? Everyone nowadays, we are very much comfortable in visualization and all in the Python language. Why? Because that the language is having a rich and dynamic library, and that syntaxes and all very simple. And moreover, see, if you got stuck at somewhere else, you are having an n number of helping forums are available, right? So public forums, if you apply anything, they immediately you will get a solution in a technical discussion forum. So like that, n number of features are there, even n number of people are working in this particular Python domain. So that's the reason everyone are working with the Python. That's the important thing. So let me take Python as the comparative language for this Julia. It is a very fast. That is the reason we are telling from the beginning. If you take any CSV file, you are working in Python, and the same file you are working with the Julia. It is minimum 1.5 to 5 times faster than the your Python language. So this is how it is a proven record. So that is why we are telling that language is concentrating on the speed. Okay, so as like mentioned already here, I'm having everything with the extension of .jl, so that the if you are working with a CSV, you have something to be done in a Python as well, right? So if you want to import, you want to work with the pandas, you have to import PD, like data frames you are going to work with. Like that, we are installing a certain packages for installing in Python as well. So here also we have a certain package to handle the CSV file, that is nothing but csv.jl. So next one is it has a very clear syntax. I will show you in later on demos. So it is having a high clear syntaxes for that. So the syntax is not own syntaxes. If you are very much clear about Python, C, Perl, those syntaxes only it derived. It don't have any specific syntax. It is having a very minute changes. When we are saying it, we will come to know how much variation is there. Most of the basic syntaxes is derived from the existing languages. Only minute differences it has been done. So that it is mostly depends on the existing programming languages only. And it is a versatile. Why I am telling versatile? It is having a n number of features that even you can use it in a pharma medical companies, you can use it in a scientific purpose, even you can use it in the normal lab problems, you can use it in your research for the data visualization part. So it is having a versatile kind of applications, and it is having a major features called multiple dispatch, which is most important for the industrial and cross-domain applications. These are the major advantages of Julia programming. Now we are going to discuss about the disadvantages of Julia programming. Okay, if there is a pro, definitely there should be a con. Each and every language you can take. So here also there is a disadvantage. What is the basic disadvantage now? The language is very young. Like that, for example, if you take Python, as I mentioned, in the starting of 90s, it has been started. In the late of 90s, it came to a certain form. In 2000, starting onwards, it came into the market. In 2010, after it came to the booming language in the industry. But when the Python has started booming, at that time only, that Julia has came into the market itself. So it is a very young in age, but it is having so much of features, so that it is becoming a booming language. It's not having that. Even I don't know how many of the people are aware of that. We are having one language called Julia programming, right? So that since the language is very young, it don't have that much. Like if Python, I have any problem, I can post it in a certain technical discussion forum. Within a week of time, I will get multiple solution, because n number of people are working on the domain. I will get a certain help from the people. But here, the ecosystem is very small. The people, those who are working in Julia programming is very less. So that the getting that kind of support in that particular language is very less. This is the one thing. But that ecosystem is keep growing. It is not an end. Nowadays, the people are more using in this particular Julia programming. So hope in future, like Python, it is also will become one of the most famous language. And another one important thing, even this particular language have some compilation issues also, that people are working on it. That's why we are frequently getting many versions on it. So these are the basic disadvantages of Julia programming. Like simply we told in one word, speed of the Julia is high. Okay, I can tell something, even I can tell Julia is the most important language. Julia can do this one, that one, but I should tell something in a measurable way. Everything, when you are telling in a measurable way, then only that will be a justifiable one, right? So here I am giving you a certain kind of thing which is measurable in nature, right? You see, I have taken a benchmark problems, iteration of PySum, matrix multiply, matrix statistics, and parse integer, print to file, recursion Fibonacci series, recursion quickstart, and user-defined medal for prot. So like that, I have taken a few benchmark problems. With that benchmark problem, we are going to compare with the n number of programming languages. I like you can see here. Here I have the C programming. Here I have the C programming because that is the most important, always the base for everyone. So next we are taking the Julia programming, then LUA-JIT, Rust, Go, Fortran, Java, JavaScript, MATLAB, Mathematica, Python, or Octave. So in this, most of the languages are familiar. Maybe LUA-JIT is new to you. LUA-JIT is nothing but LUA, just in-time compiler. LUA is a cross-domain. It is exclusively defined. It is also a programming language which has been exclusively designed for embedded programming language, which is also based on basic is C programming. Based on that only they have developed the LUA. LUA-JIT is that on cross-domain applications we can use that. That is also a compiler part. So this is that different kind of languages I have taken for the comparison. Now you can take matrix multiplication. I can take that. Okay, matrix multiplication. What is the color? Green color. You can see that particular thing, how the Python is handling. So that matrix multiplication that I couldn't see here, that we will take another one program. Matrix PySum, iteration PySum, let me take. Iteration PySum blue color. So where is the blue color? In Python, iteration PySum, if I take 10 to the power of 1 nearer to that, I'm having the time taken to complete that process. Same thing, you come to Julia, it is 10 to the power of 0. So now we can compare how much it is giving a speed when comparing to the R Python programming. Similarly, you take R programming as well. R is also somewhere around the same place. Here is also less. So when comparing to all other language, that LUA, JIT and Julia R and Rust is also better. But since we are discussing about Julia programming here, I have shown the comparison part here, right? So you can see how much speed it is working when comparing to the other languages. Okay, so that's the reason we are telling Julia is the fast performing language. Okay, so next we will go to the various applications of Julia programming. As I mentioned already, it has been used for scientific computing, that is nothing but numerical computing, and it is used for data science. So especially in data science, it is most important used in the data visualization part and paramedical modeling and development. Even in COVID time, we have seen many medicines are coming in the market, right? But they can't release the market simply just like that. So they are doing a number of simulations. It is taking all kind of permutations, how much it will be giving a fruitful result to the human being. All those things we want to check. It will take a time consuming process, right? In this particular Julia programming, we can take the features from the MATLAB, we can take the features from the R programming, we can take the features from the Python, C, etc., etc. At the same time, the time constraint also reduced. And that's the reason that paramedical modeling and development companies are much using this particular programming language. It is also useful in statistics, and it is useful in financial modeling and management. It is used in robotics, network security, parallel supercomputing. But not least, it is also useful in general programming also. Even in your lab, you want to do this particular language based on data visualization, you can use it. It is completely open source. We can do it in a better. And here we go. So we are going to start with how to install this particular software in your system. So before downloading, I just want to highlight a few other things. There are different platforms to work with the Julia. So the first one is Julia command line, which is also known as REPL. REPL is nothing but read, evaluate, print loop. So I will show you that particular Julia command line now in our screen. And we have another platforms to work with that Julia, JNO IDE, VS Code, Jupyter. If you are using a Mac, you can use a Sublime or Vim. So these are the different platforms you can work Julia. Those platforms are completely supporting the Julia programming. So what all you have to do is you have to give the extension of the programming is with the .jl file. That's it. So let us go for the downloading of the software. You just press this link. It will take me to that. Since Julia language is a completely open source, they are having their own software, julialang.org. In that particular website, I have a downloads option. In that option, I have a thing. Hope you can say this. So install Julia. If again, installation can be done in two ways. You can use the command line execution to install that particular software, or else you can download that file. From that you can install the software in your part. So this is a command for executing that you can install the Julia in your system, and it is supported by multiple platforms like Mac, Windows, and Linux. So it is supported by all the different platforms. Here you can go with that downloading part. If you are using a Windows, that is depends upon your OS. You can choose a 64-bit or 34-bit, and a Mac and Linux, which kind of thing you are using, accordingly you can download the things, right? Since already I have the software, you can just simply install and download the file and install it in your system. So it's very simple only. So if you do it, you can do it. So since I have already installed in my system, I'm going to execute it. So this is the REPL screen. Read, evaluate, print loop. I told first one, Julia command line execution. This is the first thing. Here you can see Julia, which version I have installed, version 1.10.2. And this is the official website where I downloaded from that particular software. It will take around 150 MB. It will be installed very easily. So here you can go. If you want to do something, the statement for printing a certain statement in Julia is println. Within that, you can give welcome to Julia class. Yeah, it is printing. Even you can use the print. What is the difference between print and println? Like your Java programming, print will give as it is, println will take you through it will give you one line space also. So this is the difference. So in this class, we are not going to discuss anything else. In this class completely, we are going to discuss about installation of the software. So all these things in our next lecture, we will discuss. So now I want to, this is a interactive mode. Like you can give a thing only for a certain, up to a certain level you can use, like Python interactive mode. If but we are very much comfortable in working with Jupyter, because so far we are working all the Python based program, everything in Jupyter. So I want to connect my Julia with the Jupyter. How can I make it? So this is what we are going to do here. Like Python, here also you can import the packages using a import keyword. So how you can import package? The package can be imported using the keyword called pkg. So pkg is the nothing but package which holds about the entire different types of predefined packages in the Python, Julia programming. So import pkg I will give. After that you have to use like using pkg. So this is the way you have to use in Julia to import packages in that Julia programming. Not only in this part, whatever the packages in near future you want to install in Julia language, you have to use the keyword called import pkg. With that pkg only, we have to do the other things. So using pkg, okay, I want to add. So how can I add a package in that part? pkg.add. Within double quotes, I want to do a iJulia, because we know, right, Jupyter, we use it to tell it as the iJulia. Sorry, iJupyter, like that we use it to tell. So I want to connect the Julia with the Jupyter. So iJulia I am telling. So it will take some time. pkg.iJulia. So here I am going to connect my current, so showing some error. Yes, it is. So here we have to install that iJulia to connect your Jupyter with that Julia part. So what I have done, pkg.add iJulia I have given. So this is the package used to connect your Julia and iJupyter I have installed. Now I want to use that. After installing, you have to use the keyword called using iJulia. You have to make sure I and J should be in capital, then only it will work. Now I want to connect to the notebook. So you got it right. So first, what if I press this, immediately it will take me to the Jupyter notebook. So that before that I will conclude once again. Whenever you want to import any packages in your Julia working environment, you have to use the keyword called import. So all the packages are stored in that total module name called pkg. So import pkg. After that I want to use the pkg. How I can install a particular package in this particular Julia, pkg.add iJulia. So that's why I have added that thing. Here J in capital, small letter I have given, that is why it's shown an error. I capital, J also should be in capital, but I have made a mistake. That's why it didn't work. Now again, what I have done, pkg.add, I and j both should be in capital letter so that your Julia is connected with the notebook. That is nothing but Jupyter notebook. So now I'm going to connect. It will take me to the Jupyter notebook. I need not to do anything. Simply it will take me. Yeah, here I have done. We didn't do anything. Simply I just given a notebook, open and close parenthesis. I have called that function notebook. Immediately it has taken me to that particular Jupyter notebook part. So what I'm going to do, file, new one. I'm going to create a notebook. I will create a notebook. One notebook plainly I will give. So when I'm starting, right, always Jupyter will be having a default kernel of Python 3. That is the default kernel connected with the Jupyter notebook, because all we know, the default intention of the Jupyter is to work for the Python. That is the ultimate thing. But now I want to work with some other kernel, because my Jupyter will not work with the Python kernel or R kernel, whatever it may be. So that what I am doing, I have to choose which kernel I am going to work on with. Now currently I have chosen Julia 1.10.0. So I am going to select this kernel. Now you see that kernel mode is changed here. Earlier it was Python 3. Now the kernel is changed to Julia 1.10.2 because this is my current version. So this is how it will connect. Now if I give anything, print ln, the same statement what I have typed in REPL, the same thing I will type here. Welcome to Julia class. So let me run the code. Yeah, it has done. So this is the way we have to connect our Julia with the Jupyter notebook. So you can save this file. You can save notebook. When you are saving a notebook, you have to give the extension called py is also fine. It will work. But if you are working with the saving the file, you can save the file as the .jl. Since even ipynb is why it is working now. Since I have changed my kernel mode inside as Julia 1.10.0, it is working very perfectly for me, right? Like other things, you can define a variables in a very simple way. A equal to 10, B equal to 10. Then let me take C equal to A plus B. Now let me run, it will execute. So this is the same way we used in RC programming as well. No need to declare the variables. You can directly use the variables as it is in the program. So that's what I have done here. So in the same way, you can utilize it. There are n number of features in variable declaration itself. Not variable declaration, using the variables. Even you can have smileys as a part of your variable name. So many features are available in this. That and all, we will see it in our next class. Okay, so here we came to that end of that today's session. So today's session is, we have started with that session of what is the introduction to Julia programming and what are the applications, what are the disadvantages are there, how much it is speed when comparing to the other existing languages, and we have shown you the demo of how to install that particular software and how to connect with that Julia with the Jupyter notebook. Why no? Because if you are seeing a REPL interactive mode, it is not that much comfortable to use. Already we all are very much comfortable to work with the Jupyter notebook. So it's better to connect your Julia with Jupyter so that the upcoming sessions will be very comfortable to us. I'm going to use completely Jupyter for the Julia so that we have connected these two things. I have shown you the demo of how to connect the things. Here you go with the commands. Whatever the package you want to import, you have to use the keyword called import pkg. You have to use that package. So using pkg, how I can add that particular package into my system, pkg dot capital I, capital J, Julia, using iJulia, then call the function using the notebook. If you give this thing, automatically it will take you to the Jupyter notebook where you can do all the things. But you have to do one changes in the Jupyter notebook. You have to change the kernel to Julia 1.10.2. So with that, we can execute all the Julia programming. So you can see all the things in a julialanguage.org. All the things are available over there. Thank you. We will see in the next lecture.